Have you been wondering how often to replace Eufy S1 Pro breast pump parts? Then let me help. I'm going to walk you through the different parts of the Eufy S1 Pro and how often you should be changing them. So let's get started and take a look at some of the more common parts that need to be changed. And firstly, you have your duckbill valve. Now, depending on your pump usage, these need to be changed out every 1 to 3 months. These are integral for maintaining your suction. So if you find during a pumping session you're not getting as much suction or output, I highly recommend you start by swapping out your duckbill valve. You want your duckbill valve to be nice and firm. When it's in your pump and pumping, you will notice that these go in and out. And when these get worn over time, you'll find that they start to stay open a little bit. And this will be reducing your suction and therefore your overall output. So we want to make sure these have a nice seal on them and that they're not all worn out. So every 1 to 3 months, depending on how often you are using your pump. Again, you have your diaphragm. Now these should last for around 2 to 3 months. But again, if you're finding that it's getting a bit loose within your pump, it sits in here. If you're finding that it gets a little bit loose, then you are going to want to be swapping these out around every 2 to 3 months, depending on how often you are pumping. Next, you have your collection cups. Now, these should not need to really be changed out very often. 6 to 12 months potentially, depends on usage. If you end up getting scratches or any damage, if you have any cracks, these need to get replaced. Scratches are a great place for bacteria to grow. So again, consider changing these out. And you might find that these start to get discolored, especially if you're using sterilizers and dishwashers. So again, over time, you might want to look to change these out. 6 to 12 months is a good rule of thumb. Okay, then we have your flange. Now, Eufy recommend 3 to 4 months if you are using your pump 3 times or more a day, or 5 to 6 months if you're using it less than the 3 times a day. You'll probably find 3 to 4 months is a good time to replace these. You can start getting wear and tear on these seals, especially as they have to get lifted up and over the edge of your collection cup. It's an easy spot for these to wear. And you might also find heat temperatures can impact this. If you're using the fridge hack and then it goes into a sterilizer, those changes in heat can impact the durability of your flange, so it might wear it a little bit quicker. So around the 3 to 4 months, if you notice any damage, then replace your flange. And then you have your flange inserts. So these are the parts that sit in your flange tunnel to reduce the diameter. These have generally a good life to them. You can around 6 to 9 months. You'll find though you will probably need to change your insert size before it wears out. So when you first start pumping, if it's straight after birth, that's when your nipple size is the largest. And then progressively, as you go down your postpartum journey, your nipple size will reduce. So you may find that over time and quite regular intervals, you are needing to reduce your flange size diameter anyway. So you'll probably change your sizing before you wear out your flange insert. However, that said, if you're somebody that stabilizes quite easily within your pumping journey and you are regularly using the same size flange insert, then every 6 to 9 months, or if you lose this durability to it. So if it's floppy and it's really lost that bounce, then it's a good time to change it. And then finally, you have your pump motor. Now this Eufy don't actually highlight how long your pump motor will last. Eventually, like all electronics, the pump motor will die. It should though, however, most wearable pumps are around the 500 hour mark. Like I said, Eufy don't actually highlight how long theirs is, but you should get a really good use out of it. Again, depending how often you're using it, maybe a year, maybe two, might be a bit less if you're pumping multiple times a day with it, but it should give you a good pump motor life. However, if you have issues such as it's not charging and it's quite early in your pumping journey, or you haven't been using it very much and it suddenly dies, reach out to Eufy customer service and see if your pump is still under warranty. So I hope this helps in how often to change your Eufy S1 Pro breast pump parts. Just remember, having your pump parts in a good and working order is really integral. It makes your, you need to have the great suction for great output. Also makes it hygienic for your baby. If there's scratches and damage, it's easy for bacteria to build up. So I know pump parts can be expensive, but keep in mind, it might be the difference between your pumping journey ending or continuing for as long as you need. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, please ask.